A couple of years ago, when I was still at college, I worked as a babysitter in my spare time for some extra cash. I was on a tight budget and really needed the money to help me get through my education. At the time, I felt that babysitting work was perfectly suited for me because I would be able to study while I was there and get paid for it. It was a night just like dozens of nights I had worked before. I was babysitting Mr. and Mrs. Stevenson's two daughters. They were both in their bedroom, tucked up in bed, fast asleep, whilst I was downstairs in the living room working on my college assignment. My assignment was due in the following morning, but I was on track to have it finished on time. Suddenly, there was a knock at the front door that startled me so much I was frozen in terror. A man's voice called out. He claimed his car had broken down a few miles down the road, and he was hoping to use my phone to call for roadside assistance. I wasn't falling for it. No, sir, Mama didn't raise no fool. I knew right then that I needed to call my father, because he would know exactly what to do. I had always known that he was a little on the overprotective side, but wasn't prepared for what happened next. When my dad picked up the phone, I was only halfway through telling him that there was a man outside the house when I heard what sounded like a pump-action shotgun being cocked. I called out to my dad, but the line went dead, and I was left wondering what the heck was I going to do now. The next thing I knew, it sounded like all hell had broken loose outside the front door. There were hundreds, if not thousands of shots being fired, and the very distinct sound of a man screaming for his life. There was one final loud shot, and I was no longer able to hear the man's cries for help anymore. There was another knock at the door, but this time it was my dad. I opened the door to find him covered from head to toe in blood, and there were plumes of smoke coming from his feet. It turned out that he had sprinted here so fast that his shoes had literally caught on fire. The police arrived a few moments later and took my dad into custody. It was later revealed that the man who was asking to use the phone was telling the truth. They found his broken-down car, and it was completely filled with Christmas presents that he'd bought for the local orphanage. Although I was horrified by my dad's unspeakable actions, I knew his heart was in the right place, because at the end of the day, he was only trying to keep me safe. I was never asked to babysit by the Stevensons again after that night, but on the plus side, I did manage to complete my assignment on time. I hope this serves as a warning for anyone thinking of knocking on doors at night to ask for help. You'll never know if there's a young woman inside who has an unhinged maniac for a father.